This is Bear With Us podcast.
Well, can we add girl? I mean, we aren't all manly like you.
Okay. How's this? This is Bear With Us, girl.
No. More like girl. Like a glitter bear.
This is Bear With Us, girl.
Perfect. This is Bear With Us, Girl, where we stir the honey pot with hot topics, body issues, the adult industry.
Fashion, news, pop culture, pup culture, and more.
From the bear perspective.
For and by the community.
I can barely stand it. Get it?
You're unbearable.
All right, so we were talking about, like, my new obsession. I cannot say teddy bear without saying it with a southern accent. Teddy bear.
Teddy Bear, do declare. Welcome to Bear With Us, girl.
Girl.
You should do a whole entire episode in a southern drawl.
accent? Like designing women?
While holding your old fashioned.
Yes. I love a mint julep, and I love an old fashioned.
Ooh.
Yeah, mint julep is good though, but teddy bear, I do declare. And you know that line reading from Designing Women, you know, that's the night that the whatever
That went down in Georgia.
Yeah, well, now it's all back again because Monet Exchange did it on All Stars Drag Race. They did their first ever, not a lip sync, but like a line sync. And so,
What's a line sync?
so like they read a script, like they don't read the script, but it's spoken word. It's not like a song.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and so they're saying like we've seen every drag queen do that, not usually well, by the way. And now they're saying, well, now it's giving it life back again. It's like,
I mean, I don't mind that because, again, like, there's the youngins that have never seen it.
oh, well, that's a good point. But, like, I'm sick of Born This Way. Like, that song's over. Like, we get it.
Well, no, but that's what I'm saying. It's good to bring back these things that are even older.
Yeah.
And I like the idea of bringing back doing line sync because that makes it more like that is like the acting side, the drama of drag.
Yeah.
Because for a while, drag started becoming just makeup artistry only, which is okay.
Or I paid $10,000 for this gown. I'm going to stand there and this is drag.
Exactly. It was just honestly becoming hot girls.
Yeah.
And like I like if it starts going toward like the drama of it because that to me is always more exciting. Like queens that are beautiful I think are great, but I've always been personally more attracted to either comedy queens or ones that are just like the energy on stage that command it.
Yes.
You know, like
that's a skill and a talent. It's not like, you know, you could be as skinny as you want and wear a $10,000 gown, but like show me the talent behind that.
Exactly, because like there are some queens who are just it's one of those where you're like your face is already designed for the contour of makeup that it's not that it's unimpressive, but it's not that impressive because you just have already feminine features.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that opens up a whole other can of worms. But I did an event for Hulu with a very famous drag race queen, known for their beauty, awful to work with, and was crying with the note cards because she couldn't MC, she couldn't improv, she couldn't read the script. It just wasn't a skill of hers. But she wasn't even nice enough to be able to I just said, just flirt with the audience. And she was like, what do I say? And I was like, my God, girl, aren't you a top drag race girl? Get your shit together.
I have drag gossip we need to talk about real quick.
Can we? Yeah.
So I don't know if you saw, but on Instagram, Violet Chachki, do you see what happened?
Yes.
Okay, so what happened, I'll tell the audience, is Violet Chachki, who has like, I think like 2 million followers or something, made a post to their Instagram saying that they were denied entrance to a restaurant called Delilah because of their dress code, because Violet Chachki was wearing shorts, and you're not allowed to wear shorts to the restaurant.
Yes.
So Violet Chachki decided to go to her Instagram and say the restaurant was being homophobic, they are doing this because I'm gay, just because I'm gay, and telling my followers, go after them, attack them. They were attacking the restaurant. Well, the restaurant is owned by a trans woman.
I didn't know that part of it.
Oh, yeah, but that's the sad part is because the restaurant had to turn off comments because they were getting hate messages.
God.
Everybody attacking me like, you're homophobic. You hate the LGBTQ community. Meanwhile, the owner is literally saying, I'm trans. I'm also friends with Violet Chachki. So for her to do this and to make up this whole story just to satisfy her ego for being told, here's a dress code that every person has to follow, including you.
Well, it's that influencer mentality. These influencers are getting in this bubble where they're fabricating part of whatever, but it's to get their fans active. It's to get their fans involved. It's to keep your name in the headlines.
Yep.
What better way to rally the gays against somebody that's homophobic? It's like, you have to follow the rules just like everybody else.
But the worst is to do it against, and in the end, your own community. Literally, to say you're homophobic when it's a trans owner.
I mean, you and I have both done events with drag race queens. Some of those queens need to go to manor school. They feel entitled. They won't do photo ops with their fans. It's like, what do you think you were paid for? And at least move around the stage, dance a little bit, do something. They're just like,
Exactly.
and thank you.
Yeah.
Where's my check? It's like, bitch, come on. Anyway, we're going to be talking about fetishes today. You and I talk a lot, but we have never talked about fetishes. I don't even know if you have any fetishes.
The fetish I would say that I have that I discovered probably this past year is anything in a business suit. It's become an actual fetish for me.
Oh, okay.
I now have a whole entire series on my OnlyFans
Yes, I'm a fan.
called Business Bear.
Yeah.
And it's when I put on a business suit and act out scenes in the office, either by myself or with co-stars. And I never realized how much I am very turned on by a suit. I think it's because most of my work and my life I've spent naked or in gym clothes. And I haven't spent any of my life really in like business attire. So for me, it's so out of my natural realm that I get to be in such a character.
That is very interesting. So my whole career was in the business banking world. I was wearing a suit 7 days out of the week because you would be with clients during the weekends or whatever. And so I was so over, I didn't even own a pair of shorts, whatever. So my fetish is like nylon shorts. It's seeing the bulges in like sportswear and all that because I was never part of the sports world, was never part of like the gym clothes wearing. So to me, that is my attraction because I was around suits. But a guy in a suit that's well tailored, it sculpts the butt perfectly. It sculpts the bulge perfectly. You get to see the chest if it's well tailored. Plus, guys can look just like when a girl puts on makeup. When a guy puts on a good suit, they can go from like a 5 to a 7.5.
No, you can. I would say you can go straight up to a 10.
Yeah, I guess so.
If it's a good suit, because if it fills every fetish of like the older man, the man in power. There's just so many layers to it. That's just it's hot.
But we're going to talk to Zac. Zac Snow is here to see if that is a fetish or not, or that if that we consider. Some people consider fetish only like if your fist is up somebody or you're pissing on somebody. That's a fetish.
I mean, I personally also think when it comes to fetishes, you get to decide what it is and how far you want to take it. I don't think anybody gets to own saying like, because I think it's annoying when people say things like, "Oh, so and so's vanilla," because they don't, like you said, they don't put a fist up their ass.
Yeah.
What their version of vanilla and kink may be different than yours. So like, let them have their fetish. They're not trying to claim and like take that world away from you.
Right, but do you have a fetish for guys in suits, or do you just really get off on guys in suits?
I mean, what's the difference between what you just said?
Well, see, but that's just like what is a fetish? I would think fetish is something that's so outside the norm of norm. I mean, there's guys walking up and down in suits all the time.
Yeah, but what did I just tell you? It's outside the norm for me. For a regular person, probably not. But since I literally have no involvement in wearing suits, it is a fetish to me.
All right. Well, let's talk about fetish with our guest, Zac Snow. Porn star Zac Snow has caused a sensation. He caused a sensation as the official onstage pup at this year's Cybersocket Awards. He's filmed all kinds of genres with all kinds of co-stars for studios like Falcon, Cutlass Down, Trailer Trash Boys, Chaos Men, and more. Chaos Men is back, by the way. Did you hear?
I didn't know they went away.
Yeah, they're back. He's a certified pup and not afraid to share his fetishes, including bondage, pup play, and of course, the chastity cages, which we're going to talk about. Because I'm like, wait, why would you hide that? Please welcome the adorable Zac Snow. So let's talk about this idea of fetish. What do you consider fetish? Like, what does that definition mean to you?
I think for me, fetish equates more to like fantasy, or like I think a fetish can be anything. So like someone could be their fetish could be like satin sheets. They always want to have sex with satin sheets around them, or their fetish could be like a striped sock with one red stripe, one blue stripe, one black stripe. Like anything is kind of a fetish. So it just falls into like a when I go into fetishes, I think I go like 1,000%. So I'm into like the full fantasy of a fetish. So if you want leather, I'm like, let me give you all the leather.
Yeah.
If you want lycra wrestling stuff, let me give you like the headgear, the shoes, all that kind of stuff. So like for me, fetish is like, what fantasy do you wanna fulfill?
And you really have saturated many, many different types of what you would consider fetishes. What was your kind of relationship with sexuality growing up? Were you expressing yourself sexually from a young age? When did the kind of fetish world that we would stereotype as fetish, when did that kind of creep into your life?
I think it became like later in life. I moved to New York for college, and that's when I kind of my friend took me to the Eagle for the first time. So that was kind of
and you were like, I'm home.
Yeah, so that was kind of an eye-opening experience, and also like I feel the leather community is filled with a lot of older people, so they tend to be more welcome. So you can kind of explore more. They're more bringing you into conversation. You can ask more questions. I feel sometimes like the WeHo gays. Not to read us all, but sometimes we can be a little standoffish.
No.
I'm not saying I'm one of them, but I'm not saying I'm not one of them.
And they'll judge you. They'll be like, "Oh, you don't know that," even if they don't know it either.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I've just found a community that was very welcoming, and the leather community first, and it became less. Being there is less judgmental. So then you're open to explore more things, and that kind of just dove into the whole thing. I mean, I saw someone sniff you guys' pit, and I was like, "Oh, that's kind of hot. Let me see what that's like." You know, you just like kind of like are open to exploration, and then I think you can just kind of go from there. So definitely like New York and the Eagle were my.
But how old were you when you started getting into pup play?
Into pup play, I think I saw it like. I first saw it on Twitter,
okay.
so that was my first like dive in. So that was probably like after college. So I was like 22, 23 around that age.
And what was it about pup play that you instantly responded to? You're like, I want to be a part of that. What does being a pup actually mean to you too?
Yeah, it's a headspace. I think first of all, I am into like heavier S&M as well, but pup is.
I know I've seen your content.
Thank you, appreciate that. Yes, pup play for a lot of people I think is very much a lighter version of that. You have it's more of a nurturing situation. So I think the difference I saw, of course, there's the hardcore part we sing from kink.com that is like classic. The building in San Francisco, we all know.
Yeah.
So I was drawn to that initially, just because it's so out there and different. I guess a deeper fetish, I would say, than satin sheets. So from there, I was like very drawn to that. But then a Twitter video randomly popped up where a guy actually like put his hood on and kind of got into the headspace, and I saw him interacting with his dom, his sir, or we call them handlers as well. So that kind of interaction drew me in more because I am very much like a nurturing, very like light person. I say like it's very hard for me to get into the top dom headspace. I'm more of like a playful person, and I think seeing us handler sir dom person that was also kind of that lighter, more fun area seemed to be more of a playful place that I kind of found.
I have to be honest, when I first met you, I thought, oh my God, he's so sweet and innocent, and he's so cute, and he's laughy, and he's twinkly, and he's. And I went to look at your content for the first time. I was like, oh, what? Huh? What? It was such a dichotomy, and I kind of love that exploration that somebody can be so many different sides to their personality and explore their sides sexually. Now, is it true that a big part of pup play is not actually sex? It's more just about that affection transfer, or how much is sex a part of pup play?
Yeah, I think. A lot of the times you'll see pups go out. I think initially you'll see videos of them playing in bed, but a lot of pups use that as like their like I say like superhero mask or their going out personality. So when I feel like I really want to like just be myself and have fun, you can like put your hood on to like, do that. But I've actually introduced some of my friends to the leather community and the sub dom culture a lot, and I have sirs and then I have like handler people, and so they see that they've grown to see that our handlers are more like guidance, like you would have like you would guide your puppy. You teach them like sit, stay, don't go over there, come over here, like those kind of things. So my handlers are people that call me pup, are more the people that will guide me through life. So they'll like even sometimes financial advice. I'll just ask them like, oh, what do you think I should do here? Like sometimes they'll be like, oh, does this look good? Like those kind of things. Or like I went to college, but my college was musical theater college. So my history class was like history of musical theater, or like, those kind of things that.
That was my class too. I studied musical theater, and there was history of musical theater.
Right.
It was like jazz hands for 20 years.
You can apply a lot of that to like the real world. So people who have knowledge in like economical thought process, see, I can't even say it. Those kind of things, they definitely have helped me through. So those are my handlers. They're more like guiding people. Also, like daddy, I guess, is.
So I also have a question. So I don't have any interest personally in pup play, but I love the leather mask, and I've always wanted just to wear it, just like you said, like for that superhero feeling of like going out. Mm-hmm. Would that be considered offensive to the pup community if I just wanted to wear a pup mask because I want to, but I have no interest in pup culture?
I think that definitely depends on the pup and the person, each person. For me, I am very much it is a side of you that if you want to explore and that's something you want to go out in, go for it, do it. live your life. I'll come up to you and like maybe interact with you as like a pup. But if you're out flat to me and say that I just am putting this on as like an experience or a different side of me, I would definitely appreciate that. I think that's something that everyone should be open to. Like, I'll go out in a sports bra sometimes. They're not for me, but I don't care. You know, like a girl could be like whatever, but like most of the time I'll just get compliments on whatever I'm wearing or like whatever I'm feeling, because there is a freeness. Like, even if your face is covered clearly, but there is a freeness in like putting on your superhero mask and going out and like doing whatever you want.
And they're also like, I'm being genuinely honest. Pup mask. I think the leather construction work of it, it's beautiful.
Really.
Like I
It's
love
theatrical.
It's theatrical. I love the shape of it. Like, it still is masculine. Maybe I'm interested in pup play right now. I don't know.
I mean, have you ever tried it?
But here's my question though. Like, so I'm not submissive at all.
Mm-hmm.
So could I still be in pup culture if I'm not submissive?
That's a great question.
Would you be a Doberman maybe?
So we use if you think of like a wolf pack, we kind of use that as like,
I like that.
I have a wolf tattoo.
Yeah, exactly. So that's also an aspect. Like there's Scratch, who is he's done a TV show. He also
I know him.
dances. Yeah. So he's a wolf and a pup. He goes like intermixing. So you could be whatever you want. But what I'm talking about is our like the wolf hierarchy. So for you, I would say you would want to be an alpha.
Yeah.
So you're at the top of the pack. You would be the dominant. Like, you could always flip or do whatever you want. But that's mostly our alphas are like the dominant of the two. So it goes like alpha, beta, and then like omega is like the very sub bottom. There's probably layers in the middle that I'm missing now because, you know, things grow and change as a community. But you could be a pup and be an alpha.
Okay.
Yeah. So the difference between like an alpha and a handler is a handler has no interest in being a pup. They don't want to wear the mask, but they love to interact with the puppy community.
Okay.
Yeah. So really, if you don't want to have a pup, but you think pups are cute, or you're an alpha and you want to switch between, you can.
But I think I would also be, because I don't think I would. I don't think I'd want to have a pup too. I think I would be a lone wolf.
Yeah, do it. That's
lone
work.
wolf.
Work. Live your life. Yeah.
I mean, this is like a stupid comment, but like I always said, the hottest guys are pups, and then they cover their beautiful face, and I'm just like, no, I want to see that. But there is the allure of pups, because they're running around and they're working those muscles, tend to have really cute butts, which I'm a butt guy, like 100% butt guy. I'm like, I love that kind of the pup outfit really does focus on the perkiness of a butt, and like.
Wait, do you put a tail into your butt?
I do sometimes.
Did you lower your voice, Teddy? What do you say that?
No.
In more intrigued tone.
So-
I do sometimes. Yes.
I mean, what's that feel like, having that in your butt the whole night?
It's like a butt plug.
Yeah, it's interesting, but I mean, you. Mine falls out sometimes. Truth be told, but you're.
Where'd my tail go?
If you have a proper one, they will move with the way that your muscles are moving in your body.
Okay.
So it just becomes like normal. But if you don't want to do that, you could just. There are ones made by Mr. S that you can just put on a belt loop. So you can walk around so you can actually have a tail.
Okay.
Yeah. There is a danger of people like wanting to hit your tail, and that could be a little like funny after a little while.
Especially if you're not prepared, you'd be like, "Oh God, I shouldn't have had Taco Bell."
If you're not prepared, don't put that in. Just putting it out there, PSA.
Yeah.
But
Because like you said, that easily can fall out, and you don't want to have that embarrassing.
Right.
oh my Lord.
Now, do you do the play cages I've seen before in
Yes.
places?
So that's actually called a mosh.
Oh, it's called a mosh.
It's called a mosh, yeah. So for those who have not seen it before, we basically set up like a puppy kennel.
Mm-hmm.
If you that's a actual collation with like mats, so it's very safe and comfy.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people bring like puppy toys or whatever, so they'll like throw the ball around, or like puppies will just like be running around with each other playing in there. And when I went to AML, that was the first mosh pit I've experienced. It was like a whole ballroom situation, and it was my first time, so I was not jumping in. That's a little over my head. But they had treats, like candy, so you could like feed the puppies and stuff.
No,
So.
it's treats, because I've seen at some events treats is drugs, like Molly. So is that
Well, that's
actually
at every
treat-
party.
Is it actually a treat, like a food, or is it just Molly?
Yeah, like they had like little pieces of like candy, like M&Ms or like
Okay.
those kind of things. Yeah. I mean, if that's your thing, sure, those could be your treats too. But
I just know my only experience from like go-go dancing at like a pup event. I literally just watched the handlers feeding Molly to the dogs. I'm like, oh, okay. I guess that's
that
pup,
kind of
pup
party.
culture.
Yeah.
that's definitely a side of pop culture, I would say.
So what's your favorite toy in the mosh pit, or do you not have toys?
I usually just play with the ball. I used to play with the ball and hit it around. because people can get aggressive, so I don't like to like pull with my teeth or anything.
Yeah, you don't want to lose your teeth.
No,
no.
it's not worth it. It's not worth it. But that, and of course I love candy, so I'll always do a trick. Like people will be like, do a spin.
I was
or,
like, you have tricks.
yeah, people like do a spin, or like you can
Play dead, roll over.
Yeah.
Speak, say English.
right. Or human side come out, so you do a little cartwheel. Dogs can do cartwheels, right?
Are you allowed to speak like human words, or when you're in pup mode, do you have to be pup?
I usually don't. I mean, when I do events, I will, and I have my hood on. I will speak English to people. But usually, and if you're in the pub headspace, like a mosh pit or playing, or at like a leather event or something, I usually will not. Just, I think it's just the whole headspace situation.
What I loved about seeing you especially at our awards, you were on stage. You had the mannerisms down of an actual puppy. So clear, like from the paws to the head jerks to the way that you wagged to the way you moved around. It was so precise. It was a skilled performance. It really was. But Teddy, to your question, I was at Claw, and they had these cute hats with the snap-on ears, and I just thought it looked cute, and I felt cute wearing it, so I wore it. And people were like, "Oh, well, you're a pup." I'm like, "No, I just thought it was a cute hat," and they told me to take it off. It's like, no, it's kind of appropriating that, and like if you're not part of the culture, don't just borrow it for fashion.
I think there's always going to be that little protectiveness,
Yeah.
gatekeeping when something is becoming more mainstream. Pup play is kind of one of the first kinks that has become very mainstream since kink culture has like been more mainstream, I guess, in general. So it's interesting to see how we do protect it because it's our community. It's a special place that it's not an unwelcoming community, but there are I would say generally a lot of outcasts in the pub community. So they are protective of our badges of honor of who we are as a pup. So I do understand that people are going to be like, please don't wear that, please don't wear that. But I think there is for me, it's also a gateway. So like you're saying, "Ooh, maybe I'm into pup play right now."
Yeah.
Maybe you put that mask on, and all of a sudden you're like, "I'm really into pup play."
And you take it like by baby steps. And you get more comfortable with it.
So I want to also ask you. So you're in a pup play. Are you also? Would you call yourself a furry? Because a lot of them, I tend to go they're very adjacent or go hand in hand. A lot of my friends that are furries are also in the pup play and vice versa.
Yeah, I do find that I do like the furry content I see on Twitter, like all the drawings and art. I don't know if it's directly affiliated, but I do tend to see that as well. A lot of us, I think it goes with the full fantasy situation. Once we're so deep into pup play, we start to fantasize. Like I heard you have your own furry
Persona,
character. Yeah, which is amazing. And I'm like, ooh, what would mine be? Like, what kind of animal would I be? Because like, I feel like I'm a combination of dogs, like, you know, that kind of thing.
Mine is, because it's a bear, but it's also half wolf, half bear.
See, that's sick.
Yeah.
And that's 100% you. So I think like me seeing people with those drawings, it kind of leads me to like my fantasy of like when I'm like playing around like, ooh, what kind of animal, or I'm like, oh, or I'm that beast that I saw drawing. So yeah, I think that's how it goes hand in hand. And, yeah.
Zach, how did you go from musical theater into the adult film world? How did you get involved?
I think everyone in musical theater wants to be seen. They want to.
Hello.
Everyone in
Yes.
musical theater is an exhibition. That's your kink, everybody.
And we're having sex all the time anyway.
Right.
I mean, how many cast members can we sleep with during a show?
I mean, the community is
Yeah.
very wide there
Yeah.
in the theater. Small towns, you have a lot too. Just saying.
That is 100% true.
Right.
Yep.
So I think exhibition has been a kink that I've had since a child. To start a theater, I want people watch me. You know. So once I started going to the Eagle in New York, that's when I kind of started Twitter. Feeling more free about what I was doing and things like that. So I kind of transitioned from that. And then once I finished musical theater, a lot of us find out that it's not 100% for us. I kind of found out musical theater for me was supposed to be something that was fun, and it became unfun anymore.
Yeah.
Would you ever do something like singing naked on stage? Because there's a lot of like OnlyFans who have started doing that.
Yes, I would live. Actually, Hans Berlin has a musical
Yes,
that he has written.
Lucky Star.
Yes, and so we've talked multiple times about me doing those kind of things. But I think I've always wanted to sing and integrate that back in. I think porn became something that I like got really dove into because it's something that became fun. And also my Twitter is not only just porn, but I started posting things that I started wanting to see it. So like I talked about being a sports bra. I wear sports bras to the gym and started posting those, and more people were like, "Oh my God, where'd you get that?" It was on Amazon for $12. Anyone could get it. So I sent them the link. They all the posts and tweets about, "Oh my God, you made me wear this to the gym. I love it." Those are the kind of things that like make me going and I wanted to push porn more because that seems to get me a bigger audience to be able to inspire those things because. You want to that's the point of being an influencer, right? Like my influence it's not going to be let's talk about drama, let's be upset, let's like make you feel good, explore whatever you want, try a pup hood for the first time, put on those pup ears for the first time, feel that little like wiggle of the ears, you know? It just starts from there.
Plus also doing porn pays a little better than pursuing musical theater.
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit.
Yes.
I feel like your social media content is very sincere, and we know with influencers, we know the fake influencers out there that are just posting comment to get a like or a tier or go after a restaurant, you know, to like fake
Right.
way. You posted you were walking naked in Castro. It filled me with such anxiety because you didn't even have like a change of clothes with you. You were just walking around naked.
You're allowed to. It's
Well, I
it's
know,
legal.
but like that anxiety, I felt like, you know how we all have those dreams that we're naked in a place that we should not be?
Yeah.
And it's just like you wake up in that cold sweat. What inspired you to just do that? And what kind of rush did that give you?
I think it's the fact that it does scare me, and the fact that I didn't want to do it. Okay, let me rewind. I did want to do it, but my daddy that I was with was like, "I'm gonna make you do it," and I was like, "I really don't want to do it, but I should do it because I don't want to."
Yep.
And you like when you're 1,000% out of your comfort zone, which I could have looked as 100% confident as you think I could, but I was scared half to death. I was like, "This, I don't know who sat on this bench. I don't know if there's bird shit on this. You know, I don't know who's over there. I don't know who's gonna see me." But I was like, "This, if I post this, people not only is it hot and sexy, but I hope it encourages other people to feel the same way. I hope it didn't make everyone feel anxious at the same time." Sorry if that.
I mean, I have anxiety just hearing this. I don't know why.
Yeah, but in like one, it was hot to have that kind of blatant sexuality, and for somebody like me to be like, you know, he's confident in what he's doing. We should all be confident. But it was very sexy.
Thank you. Yeah, there's actually two gentlemen that walk around the Castro every day.
Yeah.
They come through the Castro every day completely naked.
Yep.
And I actually was there last weekend, and I was like, I wonder if I see them. Boop, 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 there they walk up.
Yeah.
And that's kind of, they might not be the hottest men ever, but they are living in their bodies, and that's the coolest thing.
Oh, I want to know your hot take. Going back to I'm speaking about like musical theater. What's your hot take opinion on Lea Michele being cast and taking over the role in Funny Girl?
The thirst was real, and she achieved what she wanted. You know, it's been like how long since
It was on
Lee
her
has
dream
started?
board for like 40 years.
Dream board. She's been doing satanic witchcraft to make this.
Yeah.
She sacrificed half the cast of Glee.
You know it. Oh,
Girl, that's
you
not,
know it.
That's
Yeah.
not even funny.
I mean, she's definitely gonna live her fantasy. We're definitely gonna. I feel like we're gonna get an amazing
Vocally,
show.
she's gonna nail it.
Right.
Yeah, we don't know that.
Yeah.
Right. But I think there's some kind of like. There's now even more pressure on her
To not be evil.
to not be evil. Yes, to not be evil.
But it's gonna be fabricated. Like she's gonna go to rehearsal. Like, hi everybody, I brought donuts.
No,
It's gonna be like,
no, it's not. The thing is, she can't control herself. She's still going to be Lea Michele, and it's going to be epic. The amount of evilness that she's going to do. You'll literally watch her choking one of the extras while singing to the camera.
well, and here's the thing though, is that you know this from musical theater, she's coming into the role with one of the other cast members, but they're not gonna have like the 3-month long rehearsal process. They're gonna have probably a 2-week rehearsal and then she's in. So she's not gonna have that time with the cast to even bond or pretend to bond with them.
Exactly, yeah.
Opening night's gonna be packed from here to Kingdom Come. Now the first Fanny Bryce, though, I mean, I don't know what agent put her in there because she was awful. Everybody knows that she was awful. She's leaving early because all the reviews were awful. The audience doesn't want to see her.
Which I feel bad.
Can we talk about the understudy though? Have you guys heard anything?
No.
Yes.
What?
She
Teddy.
nailed it.
Is she good?
Teddy, if you okay, any Barbara performance, we all say I'm Barbara, right?
Yeah.
She takes Barbara, but she does it her own.
Yeah.
And it is like
You have to do that with a role like
the
that.
comparison my friend showed me. It like the same song. It is like screechy person from like semester 1 of musical theater school, HMDA, or like a Broadway, like I'll find it. I'll show you. It is astounding, and you know that she was told not to post anything on her social media because on her TikTok, nothing about singing from Fanny Bryce, nothing about being on Broadway for it. So they're hiding that girl away, that poor girl. But you like comparatively, she should just. Who cares about Lea Michele? She's gonna bring in the names. That's what she's there for. She's gonna bring in the drama, so we're all gonna be trying to pay attention to that for sure.
Well, I mean, that's the one thing I will say, and I think that's why also casting chose her, is because, to be honest, there really wasn't, outside of Broadway, there was no talk about like about this show.
Yes.
Now that it's Lea Michele, people that don't know Broadway are talking about it because everybody collectively as a world, we all hate Lea Michele.
Right.
Like it's known that.
Even her mom is like, I don't know if I can make it. I don't know.
I
so,
don't know.
do you want some full circle tea about Funny Girl?
Tell me.
So I interviewed Lainey Kazan. I don't know if you know Lainey Kazan. In the 60s, she was like, she would hang out with Frank Sinatra. She was in the movies. She plays the mom in Big Fat Greek Wedding. She was in Beaches.
Okay.
Yeah. So she comes from this huge singing background, musical theater. Number one, she went to high school with Barbra Streisand. Then on Broadway, she was Barbra Streisand's understudy for Funny Girl. And
No.
Barbara never missed a performance because she was not going to let an understudy do it, whatever. She got sick, and so Lainey Kazan got the call, like, you have to go on. So Lainey Kazan's mom got on the phone and had every reviewer come and review her as an understudy, and she knocked it out of the park. She got such great reviews, and then she was replaced. She was not the understudy anymore.
Are you
Barbara
serious?
said,
100%. Barbara was like, I'm not having this competition at all.
Oh my.
God damn it. I mean,
We musical theater queens? Queens.
The girls back then could pull the tricks.
Yes.
Girls. They could
Yes.
trip and tumble. I mean, it's still gonna be a great show, though. You know she's gonna bust it out of the park. It's just like,
Anybody's going to be better.
it's like, who did she really pay to get there? That's the thing.
I'm serious. I'm really shocked. I'm like, how did she get in there? Because that's some planning.
You know it.
Like-
And she's a strategy girl.
I mean, maybe she was the one that's been telling everybody, you know, this girl right now, she's not that good. Wait, who said that? Who said that?
I mean, but she's really awful, though. Remember when Playbill did the sneak peek of a rehearsal, and everybody was like, that's not real, because, like you said, she was first year, Little Red Riding Hood, and Into the Woods. That's exactly what
Oh,
she was
yes.
singing.
But then how does that even happen? Like at that level in Broadway, how do the directors, producers not realize like there's somebody else? There's so many other people that you could have had.
But it's that Hollywood taking over. It's like Hugh Jackman. Some people love him. I think he's so nauseating. He's Music Man.
He's not good at singing.
No,
I'm sorry.
he's not, and he's not the presence of a Broadway. But it's all this Hollywood going towards it. How many times have they done this stunt casting? I mean, Pamela Anderson was in Chicago. We're talking about a Bob Fosse musical, and you're gonna have Pamela Anderson.
I
in
heard
it.
she actually was good though.
But they had to dumb everything down. She talks things. She wasn't doing Fosse choreography. I mean,
Yeah.
come on.
With the girl who's in there now situation, it has to be a higher up thing. Also, she's like 26. She's like around the same age that Barbara was in it. She has like the same kind of flair. I
She's
guess.
actually
But singing
Jewish,
wise,
which was a
like-
big point
Right.
for
Okay.
casting. So there was
Right.
not plus, she had just come off impeachment, and everybody loved her. So the producers are like, "Yeah, let's get her in because she was a hot." And people, the young, talking to your point about the young generation not knowing older stuff, the younger people saw her in impeachment and wanted to go see her. They didn't know she was a musical theater. They didn't know Funny
So
Girl.
that's why
so
she
they
got the
went
role.
there.
Okay.
And then they were like, "God, she really sucks." Remember when Faye Dunaway was supposed to do Sunset Boulevard in L.A.? She was on the billboards.
That's a
they did
different
rehearsal.
story.
No, but she was so bad that Andrew Lloyd Webber's like, this actually cannot happen. And it was like 2 weeks away from opening, but they were going to let her do it if it wasn't for Andrew saying, no.
I can't believe these people just letting these roles happen. But then I also, like I said, I feel bad for that girl because she was offered a role that she should have never even been offered.
Right.
And it's not her fault for trying to do it.
Right.
No, I really disagree with you.
You
Know, as
think-
performers, you know when you're challenging yourself with a role,
Okay,
and
you're-
you know what you're like.
When-
You're
you're
an
right.
artist. If somebody said, "Hey, can you do a Van Gogh piece for me?" Even though you're a great artist in what you do, that's not your style. You know.
Well, like if somebody asked me, "Can you do a 3D rendering?" and I'm like,
Yeah.
"Well, I don't know computer software."
that's
but I'll
exactly
do
what
it.
it is.
Then, yeah.
That's exactly
Right.
what it is.
Okay,
like.
you're
But
right.
from her perspective, as a 26-year-old, and you're given the opportunities
A
that Barbara
lifetime.
Streisand was given, and no one else has forever. Yeah, a lifetime opportunity. I would also be like, yeah, I can do that.
Oh, but it's also
It's also a management
It's
thing. Like someone
scary,
needs to be
though.
like.
I think
right.
it's the end of her career, by the way.
I think
No.
sadly
Nobody's
she-
going to cast her in anything.
Sadly,
I
she's
guarantee
gonna
you.
need to like find something that's gonna blow us out of the park.
She should have been the funny, and I hate to typecast a chunky girl, but she should have nailed it at the park as like the funny, quirky character actor. She would have gotten a Tony nomination. She would have gotten
But you
20 more
you
years
literally
ago.
just typecast her. She's gonna be stuck as like the funny
because she
fat girl.
sucked at what she did. Anyway,
She needs that. She needs Barbara. What was her name? Who replaced Barbara for a second? Who filled
Lady
in?
Kazan.
She needs Lady Kazan's
Yep.
review to call all the reviewers and say, please don't go to my daughter's
Yeah.
opening. Go to the other one, and then they'll mix her up. That's what she needed.
What musicals did you do growing up?
Oh, so many. My favorite one I did, Rent, was my favorite. I got to play Angel the first time I did it.
Ooh.
So all the faggotry was real. It was
yeah,
hilarious.
yeah.
And Mark, I did a lot of like growing up. I did children's theater outside of school, so it was a lot of like their written stuff. One of my favorites was like Bridge to Terabithia. They use 70s music to tell the story. Of,
Wait,
like,
Bridge to Terabithia?
Yeah.
Isn't that based off the movie?
Based off the book.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, Okay, so there was a musical in that?
Yeah, so it's actually a legitimate musical, all with 70s music, based in that era. And there's like songs about imagination and dreaming, and it's actually really depressing. It uses a lot of like very popular music.
Yeah, that movie was really depressing. It also gets depressing out of nobody told me when I saw that. I was
Oh my
watching.
God.
I'm like, oh, fun little fantasy movie, la la la. And then all of a sudden, when she swings over that, and then I'm like, what the hell, this movie? Then you go to the teacher, and then she starts talking about like death in her family, and I'm literally like, nobody told me this film is just depressing.
And it's so magical at the beginning. You're like, these kids are gonna
Yeah.
have a wonderful life forever. Yeah, oh yeah. And the kids in that movie are fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
They're fierce. Let's see, what other like main ones have I done?
But it is funny because I did children's theater every summer in between high school and college. You would get paid good money for doing a children's show 3 times a day at whatever theater, and the families would come in. The most sex, the most drugs, the most drinking
Really?
from children's shows. My first was because
What show were you doing that you were?
it was like some musical review. It was Aesop's Fables to music.
A$AP Rocky?
No, I mean, but it was like it couldn't be more children's, and it was 3 shows a day, 5 days out of the week during summer. They would bring the classes in and at the mall, all of that. So many shenanigans. We would be fucked up off our minds. People would be fucking like during the song, whatever. And then I did You're a Good Man, Charlie Brown for a year and a half. Everybody was fucking.
a year
Everybody.
and a half.
God,
Oh my god.
hopefully your mics weren't accidentally left on.
No. No, it was real. It was children's theater. They don't have mics. They're just like,
right, you're just
sing
like,
out.
yelling out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see what I did. Footloose. That was that's fun. I did like Little Women one time. All Shook Up is an Elvis.
Yeah.
Elvis musical, like based on
Yep.
a Shakespeare story. That one was fun and crazy, but it's
God,
Elvis music.
You did a
so-
lot.
Yeah, I did a lot. What else did I do? I also toured with a company called Up With People. It's an international company.
Up with people, yes.
Yes.
Talk about people having sex left and right.
Oh, we're not supposed to. But
Yep,
it
but
happened.
it was happening.
It's a group of 100 people that travel around the world.
It's a show choir.
Yeah, basically, you stay with host families, so we do like a big international show that's like a 2-hour-long
Wait,
concert.
you weren't allowed to have sex?
Just to keep things a little, when you travel with 100 people for 6 months, it can kind of be toxic if you start sleeping with everyone around.
How so?
Just people are emotional.
Yeah.
Oh.
Jealousies.
The whole drama
You want to
and,
break
like-
up, and then you're on stage with somebody, and they're tripping you on stage,
Yeah.
or they're taking your prop away and hiding it.
Yeah.
Not that I know.
So yeah, but there's, I mean, like he was saying, when you do kids shows, there's a lot of downtime. You're literally doing 4 shows and then you're done. So at night, it's usually in a small town. There's only alcohol and your friends around you.
Yeah.
So
And plus, it's funny, when you're working with somebody, you get that attraction just because you're doing a show with them.
Mm-hmm.
If you were to meet them outside, you would be like, whatever. But there's just that naughtiness, and then the show's over, and you're like, God, I don't like you.
right, you're like, thanks, but no thanks anymore. Too many stories.
So Zach, moving from musical theater, what was one of the first like studio scenes that you did?
My first one actually was in.
It was funny. It was Funny Girl.
It was Funny Girl. It was titled Funny Gay.
That is
Oh man, that'd be a good parody.
That was.
Right?
You should do that, Funny Gay.
And then they replace you halfway into the movie.
Just switch the whole character. That'd be amazing. It was a group scene actually. Kind of intimidating. It was for.
I would say that's a lot of pressure.
Yeah, it was lots of big dicks. So it was also good pressure. So it was with a studio called Champ Robinson's. It was in like a tiny bedroom, and it actually went really well. Like you usually hear like some horror stories or whatever, or stuff like that, but it was very professional, and we all like had a good time. So that was actually when I moved in LA in 2015. So after I kind of started like the whole Twitter thing and all that stuff.
Were you kind of afraid it's like, well, now I've passed that point of no return? Were you afraid of that first scene being released? Did you start doing a bunch of studio stuff at that time?
I definitely was nervous about that situation, but I had my Twitter content out before that for so long that it was like, that's already out there. So what else is gonna happen with this? And if a job is gonna find this, they're gonna find everything else. Situation. It's definitely a choice you definitely have to make, and I considered. But at the same time, I've felt like once I opened up that Twitter box or the exhibition box to the world or whatever, I feel like I've been able to discover myself more and be more open to new experiences. And I feel like growing up a Christian family, that's been way more of an eye opener and way bigger of a door opener, I should say, than anything that I have tried before. just jumping on Twitter and then doing the porn scene. I think I've also met very cool people, some not so cool, but I've definitely learned a lot of lessons from being in the porn industry and how to deal with people. I think I'm very much of a people person. So I think jumping on that first scene, I was very scared to expose everything. But at the same time, exposing everything leaves that there's very little for people to judge you from the outside. So it's all about what you present from the inside that can really like change their view.
Interesting. And how much sex are you having in real life, like off of camera?
I have a lot of off sex camera more than I do have on sex camera. Actually.
Really?
Yeah. I had some experiences that kind of like drew me away from making like porn content and things like that. So my mindset kind of changed, but I'm reverting to that, and I felt like that kind of pushed how I was feeling more open away, and I don't want that anymore. So I'm opening up that content, but I'm also focusing on making other content to be on more like YouTube and more family-friendly things, so you don't have to hide your cell phone when you're watching me or things like that.
What are you making on YouTube?
On YouTube, I actually just started creating my first video, and I'm half Chinese. But I'm obsessed with ramen and any Asian food. And on TikTok,
I saw your social media.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
That's a lot of ramen.
I saw that ramen
Yeah.
thing recently. I was like,
I have a cabinet in my kitchen that is full of beef and chicken ramen. So I already have all the ramen, so I'm gonna do like TikTok ramen videos and like try out recipes and like eat them because I love to eat food.
have you seen the TikTok video of the person that shows you how to use ramen to fix like broken porcelain and like if you like
No.
okay,
Yes.
so you can use ramen as like replacement for porcelain. And
What?
But also a body shop with car. They fixed a whole part of a
It's
car.
the whole entire car.
They sanded it down.
They show you they show you how to turn ramen into like fine china, fine gold, and
Okay.
you cannot see a difference.
Okay, see, I gotta try that too.
Yeah.
And that's another. See, look at my YouTube channel. So like, I'm just gonna try like things like that. I don't really have like a direction. I think if I try to put myself in a box too early, I'll like limit myself. So I want to start with like different kinds of videos, suggestions from anyone, or like anything I find fun. I just want to make sure it's fun.
I also think it's very smart of you that you're doing content that's not porn related.
Yeah.
Because especially on medias like YouTube and
Yes.
TikTok, I've had a lot of friends who are porn stars who try and do the same thing that we do on Twitter on these platforms, and then they get shut down. They're like, "Oh, TikTok is homophobic. YouTube's homophobic." No, it's just this is not this is a
Right.
it's a kids app.
Right.
And your content should be for kids actually.
If you're gonna play the game, you just gotta play by the rules.
Well,
Exactly.
and you know how we talk about drag queens and having a personality?
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes porn stars are great fucking on camera, and they're great at what they do, but they can't host something.
Yeah.
They can't have a conversation. They can't relate to the lens in a different way other than fucking. They just don't have that skill.
Yeah.
And so that's a huge benefit, and that's when the theater comes in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's definitely something like you can still like do like sexy try on hauls or like things like that, but there are girls that I watch a lot of they just wear like undergarments. You like put them on. We can still be hoes. You just blur it out. Like
Yeah.
you know there are things where we can still like integrate how we act on Twitter or whatever with our bodies, but you just have to play by the rules.
Are you on Twitch too?
I am actually. I have a different name right now, but I'm gonna rebrand it back to everything. Right now is Zac Snow X. That's everything. But I used to stream on Twitch a lot, Minecraft mostly, because it's fun and it allows me to use like my personality. If you play I play Apex, which is like a hardcore game. I can't talk to people.
I'm so bad at Apex too.
Oh, I'll get you better. Just kidding. So I do stream when they're on there. It's Glam Gamer TV because I was like branding. Hey, Gamer GAY. MER. So I will do Twitch a lot too. But I think it's important once we have an audience, like you're saying, it's good to have content that is marketable and family friendly, so that we can also use that as income. But I think I geared my Twitter more toward my personality as well, so that I can use Twitter or YouTube or whatever, because people are following me for me, not just because I can have sex.
Well, and here's the thing with so much fans content and also with free porn. I mean, if you want to see free porn, you can look up anywhere. And so fans have seen you guys having sex over and over. It's like, okay, your fans want to interact in a totally different way. So they want to see these top ramen. They want to hear you as a podcaster. Porn podcasts are going through the roof because people want to hear about the real life. They want to experience who they have a crush on in a totally different way that makes them feel more intimate and closer and more sexual.
Outside of just fuck yeah,
Yeah.
you little bitch. Like, you want to know about their life.
You take that tie.
Yeah, and that's the thing that I think us porn important people have to realize on Twitter is that we do have a voice. We can
Yes.
say things. We don't have to just fuck. And that's a privilege that we're given. We're not just like, you're not just giving all these followers so that you can make money. You do have a chance to like really change people's life and inspire them to do whatever they want.
But I will say this, just for me personally, I don't know. For my Twitter is not the place where I do my personality.
Yeah.
Just because
That's
like
your Instagram.
yeah,
100%.
my Instagram is that, or like my TikTok or that. It's just because for me, like Twitter is just such a porn jerk off place that like when I see my friends post like their opinions or things, I'm like, this is just a weird location
there's a
in between somebody getting come on and like
Yeah.
then you're talking about like your mom and how's your life going.
Yeah, or like a political stand.
Yeah,
You're like,
you're like
your
Right.
dick is
Yeah,
like,
Yeah.
what am I doing?
Yeah, I don't do that. That's for sure. I think it's more like my playful side
Yeah.
I would show. But
Yeah.
yeah, I don't talk about like this job did this or F this politics.
or climate change.
Right.
You know, you're like,
Yeah, I'm like, those experience.
no,
No.
come right now.
Zach, I want to ask you about love and dating. I was starting to date somebody that I had a huge crush on, whatever, great chemistry. He had very specific fetishes that were so intimidating to me, and it didn't work out because of me. I didn't even say.
Was it like diaper play?
It was like baby play, and I was just like,
Oh, wow,
that's
that's close.
not into me. But it wasn't
Close.
like he lived his life. He wasn't going down Santa Monica Boulevard like in diapers, but like
That you know of.
well, I mean, but it was me. I was not saying, hey, could we have something if I didn't participate in that? I was just so intimidated by the idea that I wasn't sexually as adventurous. Do you ever have that when you go on a date with somebody? They're like, well, I've seen everything that you're up to, or they put an assumption on you in terms of romance and
Oh, definitely, 100%. Even on like the dating
yeah.
platforms, they'll go to my Twitter because I link it because why not?
Promotion.
Yeah.
Too.
Right,
Yeah.
promotion.
Yeah.
And they'll like start talking to me, and then I'll get a message like, "Oh, I think I'm too vanilla for you," or this and that. And I think if you feel that way, that's totally okay. On the dating apps, I'm not looking to date you. I'm looking to hook up.
Right.
So like we can hook up in any situation. If I'm to date somebody like you're talking about, I see that it could be like an issue further on. If that's something that I want and you're interested in a monogamous relationship, that could be something that I could like have a discussion with you about doing with somebody else, or it would be something that I would want to do that you could hopefully come to, but it could be like a little roadblock. I think as long as you guys are 100% clear about what you're doing, and if you are stuck on wanting to do some kind of fetish, start to try to explore what other kind of fetishes your partner would be into, even if it's just satin sheets, the striped socks, whatever, to like engage them in like their fetish and help them grow theirs.
Like
so
a
that,
gateway fetish.
Right. You never know. Like you never know what a person's willing to try. But don't push your fetish on other people. But it's definitely, I don't think it's a deal breaker. There's also different levels of like getting into that fetish, I would say. Like for some people, I think like a gateway for a pup play would be like act like a puppy first, then put the pup hood, like those kind of
Yeah.
things. So that person could be into diapers or baby play or whatever. But you could start off slow, or you could, if it's something that's like you're really not into, then I totally understand that. As a person, I am always just like, just try whatever you want. Just try it once. It's not gonna hurt you. If that guy is like going goo goo gaga and you're like, I can't do it. Oh, stop whatever sexual things happening. Like, this is not for me right now.
Has anybody ever tried to approach you for a fetish that you were just like, that's just not for me?
Mm-hmm.
What?
What was it?
We're just like this.
Yeah, that's why I'm asking.
There's a I do get into like piss play. There's people that are into the other end of that side of situations. That I think once you get into the body fluid situation, that can become like a conversation. That I just simply say that's not for me. If that's something that you really want right now, this is not the hookup situation.
You're like I don't even like scat jazz.
Yeah.
It's like bop, 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 bop.
Yes. Yeah. You like open honesty, but yes, that does happen. I mean, that's an extreme situation, but I think I've really been open to try many things. Like if people talk about breath play, though, that's not something.
Breath play?
Breath play.
What does that mean?
For basics is like choking. Some people like to put like hoods on where they're controlling their breath. Some people, like,
that's
gas
dangerous.
mask on. Yes, it's dangerous. There's those dangerous things I'm a little more put off on.
You're like,
yes.
my fetish is like, shooting somebody in the face of a gun and then like
Right.
dying. I'm a little kinky.
I'm interested in controlling how I can breathe and stay alive.
You're like,
right.
no, you're a murderer.
Right. You're
Just say
just
what you are. You're a murderer.
Oh my god.
right. So there's also
funny.
those things. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's many people are interested in many things. Rose petals. That's a king. you know.
But it's funny because we've all been with the guys. It's like, yeah, choke me, rough me up, and then you start, and they're like, no, I don't want that.
Right.
It's like, okay,
Right.
anyway.
Yeah, there's I just went to the a weekend really quickly. I went to a weekend called Gear Up. It's a clothing optional like sex exploration kind of campsite situation, and it's very much about like consensual situations and just saying how far you want to go, how much like what you want to explore. It since there are people that are very experienced and there are newbies at this situation, it is a good conversation, and there like a safe word is a legit thing that you should have no matter what you're doing, no matter how dangerous. If an instance you could switch in a second, someone can switch in their head being triggered by anything, you know, when we're walking
100%.
around. So if you have to have that safe word to be able to be like, stop, we're done. And that's it. And that doesn't mean you have to stop at the moment, but that means that we need to stop and have a conversation about what's going on.
Yeah.
So I think it's important that like if you want to try something, if you have someone that wants to try anything, just have a conversation.
I also like when you just said that's smart too, because like I know a lot of people who have quote unquote vanilla sex who may keep doing something that they don't want to do because they don't think, like you said, to have a safe word because they're like, well, it's not kinky. No, if you just also just like, I'm not feeling anymore, it should be okay for you to say like, all right, we're pause.
Right.
We're pausing.
Right.
Yeah.
I dated my ex. We were together for 8.5 years. For 3 years, I didn't know that he hated his nipples played with, and I love nipples. But he never said anything, and I didn't. It wasn't even that it wasn't enjoyable. I guess it was painful for him. And I'm like, why the hell? For 3 years, we've shared everything else. Why the hell could you not have told me?
Yeah. I want to say one more thing going off of that. If someone does stop you, I think it's important to realize that it could not be about you.
It's not about you.
It could be something completely different. So I think that's also something that you need to be comfortable with that person if you're trying something new, for them to know that it's not going to be about them. We're stopping the situation because I'm triggered by something. Like that's something that I think yeah, and that's something I think that people immediately get cut off is because you're in that sexual interaction and you're right there in the moment that it's your fault that something went wrong. And then that will ruin everything. But if you can step outside of your head and be like, what's going on with you? How can we do this? How can we maybe change what's happening in the situation? Then maybe you can dive back in and it can be even better.
Well, we definitely need a part 2 because I have a whole list of other stuff that we have to go.
So sorry.
Zach, where can people find and follow you?
Everywhere is Zac Snow, XZACSNOW, everywhere.
Yeah, we do need a part 2 because I have a question about like the cage thing.
Oh yeah, we're gonna give you into that.
Yeah, so we're gonna have a fetish part 2.
Yeah, you can come back.
Thank you.
Teddy Bear, where can people find you?
Everybody can find me on Instagram at Mr. Teddy Bear GURRRL and Twitter at the XXX Teddy Bear.
You can find me on Instagram at Alexander is on air. And well, that's another episode. Send us your questions. Email us at bearwithusgurrl@gmail.com. And that's 3 R's. We love hearing from you. And thank you for your comments on YouTube, by the way. You can find us wherever you get podcasts. And until next time. Grr, Teddy Bear.
That has been another episode of Bear With Us Girl, presented by Bear World Magazine and Cybersocket.com.
Please take a moment to like, subscribe, comment, rate, all the love and support you can give, guys.
Questions, comments, and suggestions? Email us at bearwithusgirl, 3 R's, @gmail.com.
Until next time, embrace the fur.
Grrr.